everybody, welcome back to the Hacienda. Rivet here. Alright, glad that you could join me. Today we're going to make something out of Julia Child's Mastering the Art of French Cooking, Volume 2. We're going to make potatoes Anna. And you can see how simple the recipe is. We've got about 3 pounds of russet potatoes, salt and pepper, and we have 1 pound of butter. Yep, a full pound of butter. This is a butter I recently ran across at the store. It says real milk from American Dairy Farms. It's from Dairy Farmers of America, an outfit out of Kansas City. Real big here in the Midwest. Now, I've tried this before last week. Delicious butter. So we're going to use that. And oh yeah, this video is going out to Patrick over at Patty Joe Cooking. The link to his channel will be up here in the upper right hand corner. Go check him out, send him some love, tell him the Rivet sent you. Last recipe I made were Julia Child stuffed mushrooms. He loved them so much, asked me to make more Julia Child recipes. So here you go, Patrick, this one's for you. The first thing we're going to do is clarify that pound of butter. To do that, once the butter starts simmering, we're going to use this handy skimmer, and we want to skim off all the white parts. That's the milk solids in the butter, and what we want is just the clear butter that's left over. And what that does is gives the butter a higher smoking point, and it's important for this recipe. Okay, what we're doing here is we're using my mandolin to cut the potatoes into 1/8 inch slices. Now, one thing where I'm deviating from this recipe is I'm not going to peel the potatoes. Why? I like the peelings. There's a lot of nutrition in there. Plus 2, it'll look more rustic. So I've already got it set up for 1/8 inch, and this will give you an idea of about how thick 1/8 inch is. And yes, I've measured it already with a little ruler. So once we get all the potatoes sliced, we need to throw them in a bowl and keep them dry. We want all the starch to stay on them. We do not want to rinse them off. Alright, the book says put 1/4 inch of clarified butter in a cast iron skillet over moderate heat. I'm taking that to be medium. If it's not medium, well, we can lower it or raise it accordingly, and that's thanks to Mrs. Rivet for clarifying that for me. Sometimes I get all wrapped up into too much of anything. But anyway, so we start out by building that little mound, and well, we need to make it a little bit bigger, and I'll show you why here in a second. Alright, so now with the potatoes, we're going to start clockwise, and we got to work speedy because the potatoes are going to start browning and cooking as we do this, but that's fine. We got the oven preheating to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to set the potatoes like that in a clockwise direction. And that's important because Julia specifies that the next layer is going in a counterclockwise direction. Remember, she likes her food pretty, so we're going to prettify it. Alright, so after that first layer, salt. And you remember I used unsalted butter and pepper. Okay? Now we'll continue on building the center mound, and you can see the butter starting to boil or bubble, which is good because we want to start that browning action in the center or in the bottom layer of potatoes. That's what's going to make it happy. Alright, so now we're going in the opposite direction, and we're going to make a very nice layer. Now after this layer, with every succeeding layer, we're also going to pour more butter over top of it along with the salt and pepper. So yeah, join me later. Alright, the final layer of potatoes is on. Every layer done properly. Now we want to cover it with foil Now, according to Julia, we then have to take a pan and smush the center down because it kind of wants to rise and bubble. Okay, so now we're going to seal it into the oven for 20 minutes. Alright, here we go, bubbling out of the oven. And you can see all that butter in there. And so what we're going to do now, as Julia Child recommends, is off camera, because I can't do this with the camera going. We're going to tip this and drain the excess butter into a bowl, which we can reserve and use some other time. Alright, so now all the excess butter is drained off. I've shaken the pan, shook the pan, everything's nice. As Julia used to say, with the courage of your convictions, we're going to flip it. I'm going to risk doing this on camera, people. If it turns into a, you know what, it's getting edited. But let's go for it. Oh, yes. Woo! Potatoes, Anna. Here we go. Let's get this out of there. Oh my goodness, isn't that pretty? Let's go ahead and take a few more close-ups. Alright, so here we go. We got a nice slice. It's sliced up perfectly. It smells very buttery and very potatoey. Very nice. So I like this top crispy part, or it's the bottom part, whatever. It's the top now. And yes, we had a lot of butter left over. Which keeps well in the fridge for up to 10 weeks. So we'll be cooking other things with it. Very steamy. Let's try it. Oh, I'm going to burn myself. I don't want to. Alright. Oh. Courage of your convictions. Very nice. One thing I will say, needs more salt. I thought I was being very generous with the salt between the layers. Once you reach this point where you think it's obscene, that's about the right amount of salt. I could use a little bit of that. Pepper, perfect. The buttery richness of this butter, clarified butter, and again, it doesn't matter what kind of butter you use. I just used that one because I wanted to. This is truly a wonderful side dish. Yeah. Don't try to use any other potatoes. You need russets for this. They need to be mealy and starchy, not waxy. Love the crispiness. I bet this is super cold. Alright. Well, thanks for joining me again, people. Check out Patrick's Patty Joe Cooking. Send him some love. Tell him the Rivet sent you. And see y'all next week.